Hi, I'm March from StrataGames, and today we are playing some more monsters. We're playing Golgari monsters. This is a deck that I brewed up earlier this year. The main thing being that we're playing, basically Gruul monsters, but instead of splashing red for, Chrysalis, one of the best creatures in the format, and Boarding Party, we're splashing black for primarily Fetid Gargantua. The reason is that this deck runs out of, Gruul monsters, rather, runs out of cards very easily, because it's an aggro deck, it just deploys everything. I was trying to solve that with a little bit of card draw. Fetid Gargantua is an expensive creature, but whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on it, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. And it can adapt just by itself, and we also have a couple other ways to put counters on it. So, this replaces, admittedly, one of the best threats in the whole deck, but ideally, we can make up for it by drawing just additional cards and not running out of gas. So the ways that we're putting counters on this are, of course, Bannerhide Khrushchev, which is one that you're already doing in that Gruul deck, but Unexpected Fangs. Another reason I think this deck might be okay right now is Mono Red Madness is everywhere, and we just were playing some Gruul monsters, and we lost to Mono Red Madness because we didn't have a lot of life gain. Well, Unexpected Fangs is our life gain, and we get to even main deck it because just having an enormous creature with life gain, with lifelink, rather, can be really good against a lot of opponents. So we're playing a couple of those. These can give counters as well as the Bannerhides. Because of that, we're also playing Evolution Witness as a little bit more card advantage, recurring our previously lost cards. And when we put a counter on this, which can happen again by the Bannerhide or the Unexpected Fangs, and if we get the Bannerhide to put counters on the Witness, we can buy back the Bannerhide right away, making basically a combo. For 2 mana, you can put 2 counters on one of our Witnesses, which can be really, really strong, especially if we also have lifelink on it with the Fangs. We can make pseudo, not quite infinite, obviously, because it's limited by our mana, but somewhat unlimited life gain. If we're against like a burn deck and they can never kill it, then we're never going to die, right? And of course, one of our benefits of playing black is that we just get some nicer removal. So Ram Through is a fine card and can deal some extra damage, but it's expensive for removal. 2 mana for an unconditional, or not a conditional removal spell can be a lot. And so we just get Snuff Outs. We're playing 2 Swamps here, but we're also playing 3 Trolls of Khazad Dûm, which can obviously search up our swamp, as well as we just have Utopia Sprawls and Jewel Thieves to make black mana as well. So we can also just hardcast a Snuff Out if we need to. Other than that, we're not playing Cascade here because we're not playing Annoyed Altosaur, and there's not necessarily the best Cascade spells in black, so we're foregoing that, but that lets us play a full play set of Nyxborn Hydras with no fear. We have 4 Malevolent Rumbles, and obviously we have our Arbor Elves, Utopia Sprawls, and Wild Growths to ramp into all of our stuff. We're still playing Avenging Hunter because that card is busted. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Sideboard, we have more Fangs, Arms of Adar, more Snuff Outs, some Shinnin of Life's Roar, Deglammers, and Vines of Vastwood to protect our creatures. So let's take this for a league and see how we do. There it is. Love the Golgari. Yeah, Golgari is my favorite 2-color combination. And so I'm always looking for ways to make Golgari decks a little more viable. And so we're going to see how this runs. It didn't do too poorly the first time. I think I got a 4-1 with it on video, and I think I played a couple more leagues that were mostly positive. So I think there might be something to this deck for sure. Was playing something similar to this recently. Excited to see how it goes. Nice. Was it the same kind of premise, like green monsters adding like Fetid Gargantua, or was it just like a different Golgari kind of mid-range deck? All right, round 1 here, and we have no ramp. We do have a way to find our swamp for the Snuff Out, but no ramp, and then really nothing to ramp into either. We have just 1 Jewel Thief, not really going to cut it. Of course, the Trolls can also be something we just hard cast if we have our black mana, but yeah, this one's better. We have turn 2 Bannerhide Khrushchev if our Arbor Elf survives. Do you have a good way of putting more counters on Gargantua? Green seems good for that. Yeah, we have the Khrushchevs and the Unexpected Fangs that I mentioned. There's certainly plenty of other ways to add counters, but these seem to be the least intrusive ones to me. We get to Wild Growth here. They're playing red, but they didn't just kill the Arbor Elf, which is nice. We drew a land, so all we have is this Khrushchev, but turn 2 4/4 is not bad. Similar Evo Witness, sadistically sacrifice creatures. Yep, to bring them back. I gotcha. And they have the Grab the Prize, Faithless Looting. Okay. No bolts or lava darts or anything in their main opening hand, unless they just wanted the Arbor Elf to live, which would be crazy. A bit unfortunate that we're just drawing lands, because if we drew like a Gargantua here, we could slam that. We get off to a fast, aggressive start here, but no follow-up is going to make it tough to win if they can just get some stuff of theirs on the battlefield. Evo Witness is a card that seems like it should be really good somewhere. Yeah, it's never really found a home of where it's like just busted and a staple. But I mean, with Basking Brood Scale, in the format when it was. It saw play in quite a few of those decks, and sometimes in these Gruul decks. Okay, Hydra's a great top deck. I don't even need to show the Swamp, which is why I'm not. We're just going to make this Crew Shock enormous, I guess. We can make it a 9/9 with Trample, which is not quite lethal in 2 turns, but currently it's going to force the Flame Breather to chump. Not this turn, but next turn. Because they're going to go to 6 here, and then the Epicure they'd have to chump with both next turn, assuming they don't have other blockers. And hopefully we don't just die, but can't do much about that if that is the case. There's a Robbery. We take a damage. Fiery Tempers, that puts us to 12. They can attack, put us to 10. Okay, they need double Fire Blast to be able to kill us this turn, but they could find it, because Faithless Looting puts us to 11. Now they have no mana, but even if that was a Lightning Bolt, they would have been 1 short with 1 Fire Blast, so... And they're attacking and not just conceding, so I kind of assume they have the double Fire Blast, unless they just want to show us how close they got. There's 1. I don't understand how these decks always have 2 Fire Blasts. They usually only play 3, and they only saw 17 cards, and yet they found 2 Fire Blasts, as they always do. Alright, we get more Unexpected Fangs, and, I mean, removal for their creatures is nice, but Snuff Out's not really what we want. But Fangs and Shinin can make them block, so that's probably worth bringing in. Unfortunately, Gargantua loses us life when it draws us cards, so I'm not going to cut them entirely, but I think cutting 1 is fine. And I guess Rumble can find Shinin. Maybe an Evolution Witness, because that's slow. But if we can do what we did just now, make an enormous creature, and then get the Shinin. Man, imagine if we hadn't missed casting anything on that turn 3. I think we would have been okay. Alright, game 2 here. No lands. Alright, this one's fine. These guys, we kind of need the Troll for the Fangs. I kind of wish this was just the Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, we got to put back one of these two. I kind of think I'd rather have to find another black source than find Fangs. I don't know. Obviously, Fangs is just really good if we can get it to resolve on a big creature, but could be right to just keep the Troll, which is either a land drop or a big creature if we hit a swamp already. And again, our Arbor Elf doesn't die right away, although... Second Avenging Hunter. We can cast these next turn, and also these can find our black mana for the Fangs. I don't know why I was blanking on that. But we just can't cast anything for 4 mana here, and then if the Arbor Elf dies, we're just like dead in the water. Hunter gets you swamp. Yeah, I was getting there, but I appreciate it. I was blanking on that for some reason, so definitely the right call. Yeah, of course, they just have the Searing Blaze, and now, I mean, another Arbor Elf would be our best way to get to mana, except it's 2 turns anyway, so I guess I'd rather just hit land drops. We get a Hydra. I guess I'm casting the Hydra for 2 as a blocker. It's possible that, I mean, Gruul monsters did fine in Pauper, but it's possible that this shell is just not good against Mono Red Madness because of the Lava Darts. Like, our best starts are with Arbor Elves, and like without that, like, Fangs is really sweet here if we can get it off, but the Arbor Elf is just so susceptible. We get a Forest, so if we hit another land next turn, I can play another Hunter, or play the first Hunter rather, and then we can get a Fangs going. Maybe I won't be dead, but they can also just like bolt this Hydra. Yep, Fiery Temper it. We take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Maybe I needed to bring in Vines of Vastwood to protect our creatures. I don't know. If their hand is all duds, and I get a land here, I can play a Hunter, and then I can survive and give it Fangs, maybe we're not dead. But this seems like a long shot. How did the Gruul deck do? We went 3-2. Lost to Mono Red Madness in the finals, but it wasn't terrible. Get a Swamp here. So they can attack. We go to 5. So Fire Blast is lethal. Lightning Bolt plus any other spell is lethal. Grab the prize. Puts us to a virtual 2 here. Searing Blaze. Alright, we are dead. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a League video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. Alright, this hand is pretty reasonable. We're on the draw. They're on something that could definitely snuff out this Arbor Elf, but here's hoping that does not happen. If we don't draw a land, it's also a little awkward because I need to cycle this Troll for a Swamp to hit our land drop, but then sprawl. Okay, well, yeah, I guess we just sprawl on here for green, untap this, cycle for black, play that, and then Utopia Sprawl on, I guess we might as well do black as well. Well, that's a lot of mana next turn. Are landscapes anathema for the Arbor Elf package? Is it just better to rely on stuff like Troll, Lorien, Revealed, Ent? I mean, cast down. I mean, in this deck, Troll, like having something like Troll or Ent is like castable, right? Like there's a, you know, this is a, in this type of a deck, Troll is a land maybe 60% of the time, but a creature like a huge percentage of the time, right? Because if I just already had this swamp, or if I top decked a Troll here instead of a forest, assuming I didn't lose my Arbor Elf, I could just cast it, right? So landscape can cycle, but in a 2-color deck, obviously landscapes still see play in 2-color decks that can't cycle them, but they don't see as much play because they're not as necessary, I guess. And so, yeah, I mean, like, Lorien, and I mean, Lorien Revealed is, like, not even in the same realm of possibility. Lorien is insane, right? Drawing 3 cards. Like, if there was a black Lorien Revealed, I would be playing that instead of Troll, right? Because right here I could just draw 3 cards, which would just be busted. So, Lorien's on a whole nother plane, besides the other cyclers. But, like, yeah, Troll and Generous Ent, they're just creatures that I could cast, whereas a landscape I couldn't even cycle here, and yeah. Also, Troll is a tap land in that the number of mana that you get on that turn doesn't go up because you pay a mana and then you get a mana, but it's not a tap land in that you get access to black mana that turn, right? So if I have 2 Trolls in hand and 6 green mana, I could cycle one of them, get a black mana, and then play a Troll. Whereas if I had 1 Troll in hand, you know, a random 6-drop that was black, and then a landscape in hand, getting that landscape does not give me black mana that turn. So there's a lot of differences, a lot of minutia and nuance to those. Yeah, I mean, also having more colorless lands makes it worse for your Arbor Elves because they can't untap those. Your Utopia Sprawls, like you're saying. Red needs a minor nerf IMO. Not sure what it is, but man, that deck is so fast and consistent. Yeah, I don't really know if... I would not mind the deck being less powerful. I'm not sure if it actually needs a ban, though. You know what I mean? But it is very strong. Well, I guess we just get to play a million Hunters this turn. I might just rumble. Oh, they have a Snuff Out. Sure. I might just rumble into a Hunter just because I get to look for something else. I have to use my spawn, but it's 1 mana to, like, look for a Gargantua, for example, which can't get snuffed out. And then we still just play a Hunter, trap them. They just top deck another Snuff Out. Pretty nice for them. And they flip the Aberration. But they do go really low with the Snuff Out. They could counter the next Hunter, though, so that could be tough. Wondering how good it is to turbo ramp into this card kicked. Draw 2, discard 2. If it was kicked, target player discards 2. Draw 3, discard 2. I mean, theoretically, if you ramp into it and then on the turn you hit it, they have just 2 cards in hand, it's kind of cool, but, like, it's not the type of card you want to ramp into, right? You want to ramp in, like, the point of ramp is to get things faster that you wouldn't generally have, and drawing and discarding doesn't affect the board state in a way that, like, you snowball by having them earlier, you know what I mean? You want to ramp into, like, giant creatures and initiative and monarch and stuff like that so they can attack every single turn or give you incremental advantage. Just casting a draw and discard spell like earlier doesn't really affect that much. Well, we know they have a Snuff Out, so I'm just attacking with this Hunter. They did tap out, though, so I get to cast my other Hunter, go to the archives. Yep, they Snuff Out, but we don't take the Monarch here. We have 6 mana. I could, like, Evo Witness something back. I think we're just playing an Avenging Hunter, though. Taking the archives. They need more removal. I get a draw card, which I was hoping would be a land, so I could just cast something, or just have more mana for all of our stuff. Mana's awkward because of 2 non-green pips. Yeah, it's also a weird one to ramp into just for the mana costs. Like Emissary of Trent. You'd have to pull that one up. I don't remember that card off the top of my head. But yeah, anything that like can do a thing every single turn is going to get more advantage by being around earlier. There's another Terror. Green Monarch 4/4. Sure, yeah. Any Monarch or anything like that is definitely a good one. Ooh, okay, that was a good draw. I mean, they have Counterspell mana up. I could try to go for a Hydra for like 2 counters on this guy, because then I have to pay Snuff Out Ward, unfortunately. Everything's just a little too awkward here. And they have Counterspell mana, which makes everything a lot worse. But I guess we're going to bestow this, because like, if they don't have a Counterspell for it, theoretically, for this or the Snuff Out, I could Snuff Out the Terror, the big Terror, and then attack in, and hopefully... I don't know. We're going to attack. I assume they'll block here. If the Snuff Out goes off, though, I get to just trample over for 7. We win the game, obviously, if they don't have, like, a cast down of their own. But I'm kind of expecting something. I mean, they could just have a Spell Pierce. They could just have a Cast Down for the Hunter, which they do. I mean, if I get to kill the Terror, it's still a bit of a win. Yeah, but not taking back the emblems is pretty unfortunate. Trying to do more disruption stuff like what land destruction does, but it feels like monsters is a better strategy. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of ways to disrupt your opponent. You just don't need to ramp into it, right? Like if you just play a Blightning deck, not that that's the best card ever, but like, or some sort of discard deck, you can do what you're wanting with like hand attack disruption, but like there's a lot better ways to do that you don't have to ramp into, you know what I mean? I have to chump here and then we're just dead. Okay, well, vines can protect some of our creatures a little bit, and I mean more Snuff Outs for they're playing Dimir Terror, but they're doing it with like Thorn of the Black Rose and stuff, so they're doing a bit differently. A couple Fangs does still seem decent. I made a Golgari +1/+1 deck like this and have had decent results. Burn makes it really difficult to brew anything. Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit ago, but yes, I agree. I mean, these guys don't die to Snuff Out and they get more card draw. We just didn't have the mana for them, and we didn't have other ways to put counters on, so that was a bit tough. I guess we'll do something like this. Alright, I mean, this is turn 3 Hunter with no disruption. Not that I expect that to really happen. Delver. See, this Troll's probably going to be cast rather than, well, unless the Arbor Elf dies at some point, but do I want to just snuff out the Delver? Yeah, because if we're going to get a Hunter down, we'd like to not have a flyer to deal with. But that's counter spell mana, so Banner Hide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I could just play the Troll if they counter that. Or I could just play Banner Hide, honestly. Because the chances they have a counter spell are very high. I'm just going to cast the Crew Shock. If they want to counter this, it can come back from the graveyard, and it's just not as important as these guys. Then again, I'm not spending 6 mana when I have the ability to spend 6 mana or 5 mana. And so if they then kill the Arbor Elf, then I'm left with these guys in hand, which is a little awkward, but, well, they didn't kill the Crew Shock, so ramping into Recoil to bounce a land. Yeah, I mean, I think you should be trying to ramp into things that are more than 3 mana, I would say. Certainly blue and black makes it hard to ramp into as well, but, like, obviously getting a 3-drop on turn 2 is great, but, like, your end game needs to be more than just bouncing a land a turn early, you know? They go for a Brainstorm on the end step, I assume into a Thought Scour. No, not. No, they set up a Delver, though. Still have Counterspell mana. I don't think they're going to trade for the Arbor Elf since they're about to flip the Delver, and if they do, I can still just cast a Hunter and almost a Troll. I can cast the Hunter into a Counterspell. I don't feel like that does much. I'd rather they have to keep holding up their blue mana, their double blue mana. Flip off a Snuff Out, and they do have the Ice Tunnel. They didn't have that last turn. Well, they didn't play it last turn because they wanted to hold up Counterspell. Okay, well, Snuff Out's decent for them. They're going to pass. Well, now we just have multiple Hunters and stuff to cast. We'll swing at the Crew Shock, see if they want to snuff it out or just take the 4 for now. I'm fine with either one. They're going to take 4. So I'm going to Avenging Hunter here because I expected to get countered, but then they're thinking, oh, well, I'll hold the Snuff Out for the next creature, and then the Troll can't get snuffed out, so that one I might cast next turn, depending on how they play this turn, obviously. And they just have, oh, they're just hard casting a Snuff Out. Well, that's okay for the Bajuka Bog. Okay. I was going to say it's crazy to do that main phase, but this still lets me get my Hunter down or my Troll, so I'm pretty happy with that. Gargantua, I could play that. I kind of think it's just Avenging Hunter because that lets me get more mana. I generally want to play the Fetid Gargantua in the same turn I can also activate it, which means I'm going to need 2 black mana and 8 mana total. This gets me my second black, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I could next turn play Gargantua and use it right away. This also just presents, well, not quite lethal because they can attack so that I can't forge until post-combat, but it's pretty decent spot anyway. They ponder, looking for something. They are going to swing for 3. And because we have the Arbor Elf, even if they snuff out the Hunter, I can still take the initiative back. Unless they also have like a Terror or a Thorn of the Black Rose. There's the Thorn. Monarch. Sleeper card is Expanding Ooze. Yeah, I know that does some modified shenanigans. Seems cool for sure. So if I just attack with the Hunter and they have a Snuff Out, they get to keep both emblems. Although if I attack the Arbor Elf, they get to block with a Thorn. They get to keep them either way. But I could Banner Hide onto the Arbor Elf to kill the Thorn. But that does not seem very good. So we're going to do this and see. I assume they have a Snuff Out. This just seems like an incredibly risky and not very good play otherwise. Because they could block and trade, but they take 2. I get both of these. Okay, never mind. I mean, I am at 10. I could die here, I suppose. Initiative. I mean, the trap kills them, so we might as well go here. Also, Forge lets me put counters on the Arbor Elf, which is a lethal attacker now. And I could play a Gargantua to draw 2 cards, which could find, like, removal or other stuff. Or I could just play a Troll, which has triple menace. Whereas if I just play, like, a Gargantua, they have 2 blockers. Well, they have to take the initiative, so they need like more blockers. I think it's just the troll though, because it's hard for them to kill. It's impossible for them to block. They need to find a cast down instead of a snuff out, but they didn't have a snuff out clearly, so maybe it doesn't make a difference. I don't know. Oh, we also get to draw off the monarch. Well, if Avenging Hunter resolves, that also just traps them and kills them, so now they need to have removal, blockers, and counterspell. Looks like they got a Gurmag Angler for 2 mana and exile their graveyard. Oh no, it's just a terror. They just were counting improperly. Alright, terror for 3. Attack with the aberration, not the abomination. Different thing. They get both of these. I mean, if they have a cast down and a counterspell, then they can survive here. Also, although they're going to block the hunter. Oh, they get 2 counters. Yeah, that's annoying. I was going to say they're going to block the hunter with the terror, but then I could banner hide over it, but not with the forge counters. Oh, well, maybe with another banner hide. So Arbor Elf probably should just attack because it's lethal. Then they block, cast this down, and then if I double banner hide on this, they hopefully don't have another cast down. Yep, I think that's the goal. Because I think it's totally possible they have cast down counterspell. I'm just hoping they don't have double cast down. There's the cast down, the first one. Reinforce onto this guy. Oh, we're just going to trade. Psych. This tramples over for 2, but we take the initiative if they don't have the removal, and then the initiative traps them and we win. Nice. The uncounterable +4/+4 out of nowhere. All right, let's go again. We have just a swamp. This hand's not very good even if that was a forest. We'd need 2 forests there. Yeah, this one's fine enough. We're going to get a little greedy, put back a forest. But we have Wild Growth into Jewel Thief, so we just need another land of any kind for the hunter. But I feel like the Fangs could be pretty good here. And I put Fangs in my deck for a reason. I'd like to be able to cast it once or twice. Another Wild Growth, okay. Well, they have Counterspell mana for the Jewel Thief, but maybe that means the hunter resolves. I don't know. Or this resolves because they're not too worried about it. That's fine too. That gives us our black mana for the Fangs in a couple turns. Or it might end up just being a mana for the Avenging Hunter, which, yeah, I guess if a Hunter resolves, it finds black mana anyway, as we know. No second Wild Growth first. Oh yeah, that was just a mistake. You're right. I don't play a lot of monsters, I have to admit. But yes, that would have been... There would have been no downside, and that would let me cast the Avenging Hunter without having to crack this treasure. Although I don't think I'm going to do that into their obvious counterspell mana, but... Yes, it would have still been the right play. Theoretically, since we didn't draw anything, they could have countered the Wild Growth, and then we couldn't have done the Hunter, and so, like, this could play around that, but, like, that's not what I was doing, and certainly would have been better the other way. Arbor Elf. I'll cast that, and I'll just pass. Gonna cast down the Jewel Thief here. No, the Arbor Elf. Okay. I've got plenty of mana. Obviously, like a Hydra wants more all the time, but I'm not too concerned with that. I'm happy with the Jewel Thief dealing a little bit of damage here, while they have to continuously leave up their counterspell mana. Now they're going to counterspell the Jewel Thief. Yep. I mean, that's obviously unfortunate. There's a Terror and a Delver. They still have Counterspell. Okay, that's a pretty good draw, because I can Hunter, and now if they counter that, I can just resolve a Witness. Unfortunately, well, I don't have black mana for this. I'd have to be using it up. Oh, well, they could also just have another removal spell, I suppose, in which case they're fine with the initiative resolving. But I'll play the Witness. Maybe that resolves too. Talon 2. Thank you so much for the subscription. I really appreciate it. Hope the Hedron serves you well. Yeah, so that they're going to counter. I mean, if they also have the removal spell, like, what am I supposed to do? They have all removal in hand. They don't flip the Delver, so that's decent. But they do. Extract a Confession. Sure. I guess we hope to hit another Hunter off the top. Our Gargantua would be decent. Another Witness. We have a lot of hits. And that's not any of them. They pump and flip the Aberration with a Brainstorm. I mean, I guess if we get like a Nyxborn Hydra, which could be a 7/8 plus a Fangs on it. If they have no removal, we top deck a Nyxborn Hydra and then they attack into it. Well, they're not going to attack into it because it's going to be a 7/8 and they're going to block Mystic. Well, that's going to kill us. Banner Hide. Well, they have 3 removal spells and a counter spell. Kind of tough to work through that. Also, we're not seeing our Gargantua when we need it. It's supposed to be at the end of us casting like other powerful spells. I don't necessarily want to cast it first, but after the other ones have like died and stuff like that, then we play it, refill our hand, boom. GG's, man. Yeah, thanks for the games. I was hoping you would not have a counter spell and 3 removal spells that last game, but alas. Cruise Shock thing gets me every time I play against it. Yeah, that game too, it was really convenient because I also had an Avenging Hunter in hand, which could have triggered the trap to deal the last bits of damage, but I figured the uncounterable double Cruise Shock was probably better, and yeah, seems pretty tough to deal with there. Yeah, this one's alright. Well, pretty decent even. Arbor Elf with Utopia Sprawl for our green and black. Against Jund, it appears. That's a good draw, just something we can play. Put this on black. I'm not going to cycle this, I don't think. Well, I could. So if I cycle it, I hit my land drop next turn, which gives me 6. Actually, I already have 6. Yeah, I'm not going to cycle this right now, I don't think. Because I could just do it there with that mana floating, but I think I might end up wanting it. Like, I could just play the troll this turn and then put like a Hydra on it the following turn. Seems pretty good. But the alternative is I could get my land, try to go the Gargantua route, which is not bad, but like, and I want to make happen, but I want this to be a follow-up to like some other things. I don't need it to be the first thing I play. They have a Wildfire on our Sprawl. Yeah, that's obviously going to make it so that I would prefer to have the troll cycled already. I guess I'm grabbing a Swamp. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, the perfect thing to punish, obviously I know they're playing Jund, but to punish the not cycling for the troll is now I can't play Avenging Hunter. Well, we're cycling it now. Is there some potential for Gifted Viper? Counter, reach counter, death counter. I think we're just attacking here. Yeah, maybe. Untap it too is pretty good. Untap is interesting because you can actually use it with Arbor Elf as kind of a ritual. Counter obviously triggers your Gargantua and your Witness. Reach is pretty good for stuff for protecting the initiative, and Death Touch with Hydra is pretty good. Yeah, there's a lot of little synergies there. I could see it being a decent include for sure. They had nothing for 2 mana here. It's interesting. Well, we're just gonna play our Hunter. Don't have to worry about counter spells. Don't have to worry about haste threats, really. Yeah, it's kind of hard finding a room for like those little random utility cards. Obviously, I have already done that a little bit with Unexpected Fangs. But no, I think that does seem like there's enough utility for just a green mana that definitely worth trying out. If they have Krark plus Toxin here, obviously we're not in the greatest spot ever, but we still get to just play the Crew Shock, and we still have the initiative. But if they don't have that, they're just like pretty much dead. So we can Forge, attack for 10, and then trap them next turn. They don't have Metalcraft for a Galvanic Blast in response here. Obviously it'd be the same here. And if they want to cast down, yeah, then at least we're spreading out our resources. Here, if I Hydra onto this, for +4, we hit for 9, and that makes trap lethal next turn. So I think that's worth it, because they can't do anything about the trap unless they have a random haste creature I'm not anticipating. So they have to have life gain to be able to survive here. And they're a deck that definitely plays some life gain, but then they also have to have like a cast down for this guy. You have that too in Crew Shock. Yeah, I mean, Crew Shock is going to be better than Gift of Viper, because it's also just a 4/4 trample. But Gift just has a lot of various little utility things that I do think is interesting enough. Like I was trying Emerald Charm out, right, in Gruul, and that's cool because it can untap your forest that's enchanted with all your stuff, but you could do the same thing with the Gift of the Viper untapping the Arbor Elf to retap it. Obviously it's an extra piece you need, but that, in addition to all the other little synergies, could be interesting enough. Alright, this is not one where we really need Fangs, but I will take Deglammers, and I will take Snuff Outs, because they can get rid of Chris, but they can also get rid of Krark in response to it getting Death Touch, which I think is crucial. So we'll just cut... Witness kind of lets us grind. I guess this is the deck to grind against. So maybe... well, we'll still cut one. I think the Gargantua is going to be better to grind. And we have a bunch of ways to do that, so... I would love to... I mean, like, the green cards are, you know, the main 40-50 card shell of green ramp and monsters is really good, which is obviously why we're playing it. I would love to see a hand that just revolves a little bit more around the Gargantua. This one could very well be that hand. But I need my opponent to push back more without fully... Well, they mulligan to force. This is going to be a tough one. Push back more without fully killing my Arbor Elf so I can't deploy the Gargantua, you know what I mean? Like, kill my other big threats, then I deploy the Gargantua, and then I draw my cards. Well, they mulligan to 4, play a bridge, and we have Deglammer, and if they have 2 bridges, I have double Deglammer next turn. If we top deck a Wild Growth here, and they play a bridge, I could double Deglammer this next turn to blow up both their lands. That'd be really funny. They just have a Krark, though. Well, I guess if I Deglammer this, they're going to definitely wipe away my Arbor Elf, which is kind of annoying. Probably still worth it to get them off of a land, though. Like, we lose a mana, kind of, but, I mean, I think we'll probably be fine. Because this way, if they top deck a basic, they don't get to then just play a like an Icarel Spring or something that could really like put them ahead, which they did right here. Cycle Troll for our last swamp. If I draw nothing, then I would just play a Hydra here. I did get a Witness. That's probably better than Hydra, just because Hydra can be bigger and also can be bestowed. Unfortunately, bestowing with the Hydra doesn't actually trigger the Witness because the counters are on the Hydra, not the Witness, but that's okay. But like, yeah, here I can just attack, adapt to get back Arbor Elf. No, we'll just do the Troll. Oh, wait, no. I was going to do Troll for a basic, but I only have 2 swamps in my deck. Okay, that was a mistake. I think we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Pretend that nothing happened. Spell Bomb. Perfect timing. They don't even have a black mana because I could Glamour this, but I just don't see a reason to. Snuff Out. Attack for 4. I will just cast the Hydra now to speed this up. I just really wanted that Troll back so that if I draw 2 more lands, I can cast it. You know what I mean? Very important to Dark Moss Bridge. I've started seeing these people, these Jund players playing Dark Moss Bridge. What are you doing? Dark Moss Bridge doesn't cast Cleansing Wildfire, and also it just gets deglamored. What a sick joke. Oh, they found a landscape. Play your Wellspring or Lembas. I dare you. A double dog. All right, we get that game. Okay, Sprawl on turn 1 into a Rumble, and if we hit a land or whatever, we can Crew Shock on turn 3. If we Rumble into like an Arbor Elf, we can maybe get an Avenging Hunter down turn 3. That'd be cool. Bajuka Bog. We do get our Forest. Let's go for a Rumble. Oh, I guess Rumble alone could get us a Hunter. We don't even need the Arbor Elf, but I do find it. So if I play Arbor Elf, the next turn I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So I play Hunter, and then the following turn I could like Gargantua and do my drawing. I think that's good. I could also just get another big guy, but I think we're going to try taking the Arbor Elf, see how this goes. We need an Evolution Archaeomancer instead of Evolution Witness. We already have plenty of Archaeomancers in the format, right? Honestly, I don't need that guy, so it's not the end of the world that they snuffed that out. Ichor Wellspring. So I assume they're just Gardens. Pestilence, maybe? No, Pestilence doesn't play the Wellspring usually. Wild Growth. Here we're going to do it correctly. Here's a Wild Growth on this. And then play Avenging Hunter, and then get a Swamp, I suppose. But do we have one that triggers on +1/+1 counters? No, I understand that. I cycle a Troll. Yeah, it looks like just Gardens to me. But this Fast Hunter, definitely going to wreck them a little bit. Innocent Blood, okay, that's some hot tech. Got us good. Do I want to Forge, knowing it does nothing, just so I can trap them? I have 5 mana, so I don't really want to Gargantua until I can make sure to activate it right away. So no, I think we're going to Scry. Evolution Witness, great. Perfect. I don't need this Forest. But that's a nice draw, because then I just get to do this. Activate right now. I mean, they could Snuff Out, but unless they have a Snuff Out, I get to get my something back. Okay. Well, that forces the issue there. Still not terrible. 6. I guess maybe I should have left the land on top because that would allow me to hardcast a Fairy Macabre, sure. I get to stash here, and so the Gargantua I could activate if I had kept the land. Maybe we'll top deck a land anyway, though, or we'll get gas. Either way, yeah, I'm pretty okay with it. Another Hunter. So should I play the Hunter, or should I save that to take the initiative back? For 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I still don't want to play the Gargantua, so I could just play Bannerhide. So then they need, like, removal for this to not take. They're going to take the initiative, but then this lets me take it back at least once, and then I have to have removal for Bannerhide, otherwise I'll take it back with that, and then I'll go to the throne with the Avenging Hunter. They do get to pick up a basic here, and they did miss a land last turn, so this is pretty relevant for them. And they offering to draw 3. They play a Colony Garden. Well, they have a Swamp still in hand that I assumed they were going to play, but this blocks, but this is Trample, so they still need some way to get rid of this. Otherwise I take the initiative. Defile. That only gives -2/-2, so that's fine. That still takes the initiative. Okay, and they have a Spinning Darkness. Gotcha. That's pretty funny. You got me. Nyxborn Hydra. Alright, play a Hunter, get a 4/1 Skeleton, and then pass. I have a couple different ways to buff up these guys. They also just use 2 removal spells, so ideally, they shouldn't be able to kill both of these. They do swing, they get to pump up the plant, or they might just scry. They might need it to find more removal. No, they go for the Forge. On the plant. And they have an Avenging Hunter of their own. Okay. They get to trap us down to 11. I have a Hydra for +5, though. And Trample, which I can put on the Skeleton, so they take 9. And then I go to the Throne. Plus I attack with the Hunter, they'd pretty much have to block it. And we're going on the Skeleton here, because if they have another Snuff Out, I would like it to not get snuffed out. Also, the Menace plus being enormous is really nice. Swing with both, because I would like to eat some of their creatures here with the Hunter. I guess this is a 9/6. They could double block here. I still trample over, and then I actually get my Hydra back to block. So that's also not terrible for me, but it is an option. they would just also be taking damage from the hunter, so it'd be pretty tough on them. But they double block the hunter. We'll kill their hunter, put them to 6, and go to the throne. Okay, we didn't have the best things ever, Arbor Elf and a Witness, but we do get a Witness, which should trigger and get us back. Something here. What's the best thing? Another Witness and Bannerhide. Where do you have a Bannerhide? Probably just another hunter. Gets us to trap faster. So we'll do that in Bolt Pass. I was hoping for something with Reach, so I could block the Fairy Macabre, which I guess the only things with Reach in our deck are Hydras, because we're not playing Altosaurus and we're not playing Chris. Yeah, so that was unlikely, but map onto the Macabre, Pulse of Marasa, okay. Could gain them some life, but they have to draw it and use it, and currently we just have a bunch of damage on them. I thought this was going to be the game where I got the Gargantua off, but I ended up not hitting the land when I thought I might. Well, I scried the land to the bottom, so it was my own choice. But I don't know if it was right to keep it to get the Gargantua anyway, you know? We've had other better stuff to play since then. They will swing for 3. Oh, right, they get to draw from the archives, but they bin to the Pulse of Marasa. Not what they wanted. Probably because 6 life doesn't make up for them taking like 9 here. Lembas, okay. That doesn't keep them alive by itself. Because currently they have to have like a cast down or something for the skeleton, because it has Menace, can't be blocked by this, can't be snuffed out, deals them 9 damage. But currently it dodges a lot of the removal. Obviously I mentioned Snuff Out, Innocent Blood. I'll just sack this Witness, you know. Plus we have a Crew Shock here. Forest for 7, so I can do a Crew Shock and an Avenging Hunter this turn. So I think we just swing. If you're running Witness, I like Implemented Ferocity for recursive card draw. Yeah, I think I tried that a little bit. It didn't feel incredible in this shell. They might have forgotten this has Menace, because they just tried to block it. I don't know, it didn't feel incredible just because it was like a little awkward that it was like a 1-drop that wasn't ramping us at all. But obviously if we have enough mana later, we're trampling for 5. So currently this is lethal. I assume they have a cast down for this. Oh, well, I guess they just take lethal. Yeah, so I think I tried to implement. I'm not saying it's bad, and it is great with Evolution Witness. I feel like it probably makes more sense in like a more traditional kind of mid-range Witness deck, or even maybe even controlling to some degree. Whereas with here we're ramping, it's like we get so far past the like 1 mana stuff so quickly that like it can feel weird in the curve, but it's not terrible. I mean, it's cheap enough. Adding a counter to a hunter or whatever can be relevant too, and obviously with the Gargantua and the Witness it is pretty good. Only wish you could sack it as an instant. Yeah, it would be very strong if you could do that, but I would also like that, I think. Alright, we don't need Fangs. We also don't need Snuff Out. These are just irrelevant, but Vines can protect our creatures from dying, and I think I'd rather a Shinin. Not that it's going to be super great for the blocking, but it's just a creature. It can make it so that other things can't get jumped, which is nice, and it's either that or Deglamor. And, you know, I don't hate artifact removal in this matchup in general, but I don't think we need it. Because, like, we're going to go a lot faster than a Tithing Blade is going to, like, drain us out, you know? Whereas if I'm in, like, a Esper Affinity, I don't mind a Dust to Dust because those could be relevant, and I'd like to get rid of them. Alright, we have Arbor Elves. We have a Troll. I mean, Arbor Elves die pretty easily, and we don't have a ton to ramp into, but, I don't know. There's a decent amount of utility here with the Rumble. That land is not bad. Blue-green Witness deck, implement a Ferocity, Cryogen, proliferate the stun counters on the rare occasions you can. It sounds like there's a lot of things going on already in that, but, you know, it could be decent. I love Cryogen in anything, pretty much. I guess here we're just rumbling and playing another Arbor Elf, hoping that they don't just, like, wipe them both away. Rumble can also set up a Witness, grabbing something decent. 2 Witnesses, Avenging Hunter, and an Nyxborn Hydra. Okay. They have a Spell Bomb, so I probably shouldn't go for chaining the Witnesses. I was thinking, oh, I'll just do that. I think I'd probably just take an Avenging Hunter then. Because they were able to have a Fairy Macabre and then also play their own Avenging Hunter. But if they don't, like, I know they have those cards in their deck, but if they just don't have those things, it will be pretty good to get an Avenging Hunter out early-ish. Like, we can get it out next turn already, assuming they don't wipe our board. They Spell Bomb. There's a Dino that when it gets damaged, you proliferate. That plus Pestilence and Pentad Prism. Yeah, that sounds like a combo. That'd be kind of funny. There's the Macabre. Again, I guess getting it out early since they know about the Hunter. But now I just don't play the Hunter. I guess it's fine for them to have it anyway because I don't care about my graveyard that much. Although I do a little bit with the Witness. I guess I could just play Shinin then and eventually make the Macabre block it, assuming they leave it untapped, with like a Crew Shock. And then I get my Hunter down, because I don't want to just run out Hunter here when they can just take it right away, especially if they could then like board wipe. Just playing a Shinin here is like a huge waste though. I think I play a Bannerhide actually, because this can come back with a Witness later. I'll cycle this Troll here. Fairy's Time Twist on Cryogen or Witness. Yeah, that could be cool. I mean, it's kind of worse Ghostly Flicker on a Cryogen, but the utility of having it on Witness could be kind of sweet. Oh, Last Rites. Interesting. I guess we're not going to Witness after all. Well, might as well get my Swamp. Although this televises that they only need to discard 3 cards, but like, I'd rather do that than have them take this and then we draw a card that we want to play that's black and we can't. But also it puts them kind of low. We do have a better board than them, not substantially better, but like we're attacking for 4. They only discard 2. That's interesting. Okay, well we get to keep probably just the Shinin. Yep, is not the best thing ever. Although if they don't attack with the Macabre here, I can yeah, they could have a Snuff Out. Because I could channel this on the Bannerhide and just try to kill all of these. But if they Snuff Out, that's kind of tough. I think we're going to go for it. They didn't have any response. I maybe shouldn't attack with the Arbor Elves, because if they do have the Snuff Out, they don't have to block everything on it. But if they do, I get some stuff. Alright, I mean, that's not a bad trade. A random card in my hand that wasn't going to do that much to kill 3 other Trump blockers, one of them being an attacker as well. And now I just get to start attacking for 6. So not the fastest clock ever, but like they don't have a ton else going on currently. Cycle a Troll. Oh, and if we top deck a Troll, that's great. Just going to do this now. I'd rather keep the Eldrazi spawn around in case we want it for something later. Then again, I guess this very specifically gives us not lethal this next turn, because if I had attacked with the Arbor Elf, they'd be at 12 and I have 12 damage. So for that reason, that was probably stupid. But we end up getting there, so it was actually the best idea in the world. All right, round 5 here. We have the Arbor Elf into Thief. Seems good. Crystal Grotto. So it looks like Tron. Crystal Grotto's usually in like Monster Tron, I think. Because usually you want to surveil into the graveyard with Flicker or Alter Tron or any of that stuff. But I think this means Monster Tron, which I have seen more of lately. I'm not really sure why. Barrels of Blasting Jelly. 1 mana it cycles, or it filters your mana for 1. And for 5 mana, it can deal 5 damage to target creature. And they have a map. Okay. Well, we get a Jewel Thief. If we're lucky enough to find a Hunter, I can get that down right away. They can crack their map, so they're 2/3 of the way there. To Tron, that is. Snuff Out. I mean, if it is Monster Tron, Snuff Out actually can be useful. Because at first I was going to say that's kind of a waste, but I guess we're not doing anything super impressive this turn. We're going to go for a Rumble, see what's up. Okay, I'll take a Sprawl, put that on here for black. I mean, we could use the mana, honestly. 1, 2, 3, 4, so I could play this Evolution Witness. I think I'd rather just attack. Next turn I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, potentially. Well, not potentially, 8 mana total, if I want to crack everything. There's another Candy Trail, looking for that last, the Tower. Prophetic Prism. They do find Tower as the last card there. Last card drawn. 3 cards left in hand. We get a Forest. I probably play Troll and then Hydra next turn, because I could Hydra this turn, but then Troll's going to be impossible to block. So I kind of like that. 1, 2, 3. I could just run out the Witness as like an extra attacker next turn. Uses up the mana that I'm going to be using for the Hydra, 2 of it, so I don't think that's worth it. Let's just pass. I don't have a Swamp, so I don't have a free Snuff Out, unfortunately. Pinnacle Killship. Right, I forgot that was just going to potentially kill a creature. Okay, well, that's all they have. Wild Growth, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can make this an 11/11, which actually survives another Pinnacle Killship. That's hilarious. Well, we simply must then, right? It also just is going to be bigger than basically everything else they could have. And it's going to hit for 11, which means they're going to go to 2, which is also just very close to lethal. Yeah, who's the Monster Tron now? Still them, because I don't have Tron lands, but you understand. My land taps for 3 mana, just like yours. We're the same. Brambleworm. Okay, that gains them 5. But with a Snuff Out, it's not going to keep them alive. Actually, Snuff Out... Okay, I was going to say Snuff Out. This doesn't work like a vehicle because it's a sorcery. So if this was a vehicle, I could Snuff Out the Brambleworm, but then they crew this. But now they had to do this as sorcery, so now I can just kill up kill the kill ship. Oh, we also get a Troll, so I could cycle that, but I don't really need to. Let's just kill this. And then attack for 11. Lands the tap for 1. I mean, like, honestly, why would you even play those? Kind of embarrassing. Alright, well, their whole shtick is giant creatures. So Snuff Out feels good. I mean, honestly, Shinin, not to kill their creatures, but just to make it so that basically all of our other stuff is unblockable for a turn. Definitely could be worthwhile. I don't think I saw any artifacts, well, actually, that I really want to get rid of was what I was about to say, but I guess it gets rid of Pinnacle Killship if I don't have a Snuff Out. It gets rid of Maelstrom Colossus, but Snuff Out's just better than those. Like, I don't think we're going to race with Fangs. It could be so cool, though. And this is our last chance. Witness doesn't feel super valuable here, I think. Gargantua could be. I guess we'll keep 1 Fangs in. Try to go for the dream. Well, if we get a Fetid Gargantua, we're going to cast it and we're going to activate it if we can, because we've not done that so far. This hand doesn't do anything. If just one of these forests was a ramp spell, I would keep it, but otherwise it's way too slow. Oh, dang. That swamp tripping us up. I don't really want to keep a hand like this. Like, it's pretty decent if we get a forest, but it's also bad if we don't. Okay, here's another one. On 5, do we keep this hand? No? Okay. Alright, let's try to do something. We're going to keep Rumble. We're on 4. This is outrageous. It's unfair. I guess Jewel Thief, because we can play that for cheap. We're super dead here, though, I think. Generous. Oh, I'm going to have Snuff Out online. You better watch out. Play a forest and an expedition map. All right, well, the 2 basic swamps did screw us over this time because that was 2 hands in a row we couldn't keep because of it. In general, they haven't been too bad, but a real cost here for sure. Forest is a good draw. Let's go for a Rumble. Part of me wants ramp, but it's also like, what do you ramp into? Well, we didn't even get that. Currently, I can't play an Avenging Hunter. Actually, no, I could off of the Rumble and then the thing from the Jewel Thief. I was going to say either way. I feel like I need something to like reach for and hope to get to, so I was going to do that either way, but yeah, this one's fine. And we have a Bannerhide in the grave, if that becomes relevant, which it could. It could not. They have a crop rotation. Into a mine, sure. And they get to crack the map. They only get 2 mana this turn from it. I guess it's not the worst thing ever. There's a prism, though. Sprawl. A little late, but I'll take it. On, I guess black. Yeah, it's fine. Alright, then we'll play a Jewel Thief. We're up to 6 mana. Hunter's going to use one of that, but it's going to give us a land, so still at 6 to get to, like, the Bannerhide. And now we're facing down 8 drops. There's the Colossus. Into an expedition map is not the worst. I can snuff out the Colossus. Definitely keeping the spawn over the treasure for the ability to chump block. We're going to snuff this out sooner or later, so I might as well make it now and hit for an extra 3. It's possible I should save it actually for like the tramplers, because I do have enough blockers to block the non-tramplers for a bit, but there's another Colossus, so yeah, we're definitely killing one of them. Into Barrels of Blasting Jelly. I mean, this is not the worst hit ever because it does turn into a removal spell, 5 damage to a creature. So not the best, but not a dead draw either. We do get to forge onto the Hunter to keep it from dying from this guy. We get a forest. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess we put 4 counters for the Bannerhide onto the Hunter. Hit for 11. Or I could put it on the Thief. We trade and we hit for 7. But I'd rather just have 1 enormous creature, I think. Because they go to 6. And then we trap them down to 1. And then we just have a bunch of tramplers. Hopefully that can do the job. Oh, they have like a Pulse Marasa. Sure. Get back a Maelstrom Colossus. I mean, they still take 11, but down to 12 is not quite as exciting. I don't think I want to chump the Colossus here. I guess if they have another land, they can just cast Colossus and blow up the Jewel Thief with the barrels. So we'll see. They have blue. Rush of Knowledge. Really? Rush of Knowledge to draw cards equal to the greatest mana value among permanents you control. So drew 8 cards. That's pretty sick, I have to admit. Extract a Confession? No. Please. Why you do this? Pachuca Bog, that's pretty irrelevant at this point. They are gaming, indeed. I mean, I love Russian Knowledge. That's a sweet card. I just don't want them to be drawing 8 cards. It seems too good. I get to attack for 7, take the initiative. Yeah, I mean, I can take it back, and I get to hit them for 3. Plus the trap puts them to 4. Then Avenging Hunter into the archives. Unless they have like a removal spell for 4 or like a creature here, but I was hoping that wasn't the case. Heritage Reclamation. I can live with that. Candy Trail, a little annoying. Luckily, losing the Sprawl does not make it so I can't play the Hunter, because if it did, then I could not live with it. That would be bad. Snuff Out's a pretty good draw. Let's take the initiative, trap them. Is Rush of Knowledge an instant? No, it's a sorcery, okay. Because I'm wanting to hold this Snuff Out until at instant speed, but if they could Rush of Knowledge in response, that would be a mistake, probably. We get to draw a card. It's a Jewel Thief. All right, we'll pass. Because I might even chump the Colossus and then snuff out whatever other creature they play. Although they could play multiple creatures. They have a ton of mana, ton of cards. They have another Extracted Confession, it looks like. That's annoying. Yep. And a Pinnacle Killship or something. Just another Colossus. Okay. Do a Candy Trail. Alright. Well, I do get to snuff this out and go to the throne. But, oh, they're gonna, yeah, blow this up with the barrels. I still get to snuff it out. But now there's, like, definitely no way I can kill them here because we don't have a creature. We're about to, but Shinin or Avenging Hunter. I mean, the Avenging Hunter is big enough to block and trade. Shinin doesn't do anything good. So yeah, let's get that. Let's go back, pull out a basic. Guess we got a swamp. Did not want another basic. They have another Rush of Knowledge, it looks like. Oh, Mole Drifter. Okay, fair enough. Not quite as many cards, but it is a 2/2. And another Colossus. Oops all Colossi. Pinnacle kill ship. Cannot kill the Hunter because it's got hexproof, but it can blow up the Thief. Then I have to trade with the Colossus. And there's no way I'm going to be able to get to the trap. Well, theoretically, if they tap out and don't Candy Trail here, if I top deck another Hunter, I can go to the trap and win. So I have to block here. That Tron deck looks cool. Yeah, it does look cool. Monster Tron's been around for a while, but it's gotten some new cards recently. The kill ship's cool. The Blasting Jelly seems decent. All right, so I could scry here. I don't think there's anything I can scry into that's going to win me the game. But I have 2 more Avenging Hunters in the deck, right? No? Oh my gosh, never mind. Every single Avenging Hunter I've gone through already. Okay, never mind. I was going to say if I just Forge and then Avenging Hunter off the top, I could trap them. But I've looked at every single one. Or I've seen every single one. So that's impossible. So I might as well have lost well, I guess. Because I'm not going to, like... I can't hold off all these guys, no matter what. Well, I guess actually, wait. I don't have the mana. Because if I could find a, what's its name? The Evo Witness. That could bring one back, but that's not going to work. We draw Forest. Close, but no cigar. Okay, they have a lot more artifacts than I was thinking. It still feels weird. Oh, I took out all the Evolution Witnesses. Never mind. I don't know. I just feel like deglamoring a Prophetic Prism is like a huge waste. Obviously, it can be good. But they already have a lot of other ways to make colored mana, it feels like, because they have the Blasting Jellies, and, like, and they just have, like, Generous Set for Forest. Excuse me. Then I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Shinnin did look bad there, but, like, it could still be okay. Let's just send it back. Last game of the league. We have an Arbor Elf, nothing on turn 2. I mean, we were actually pretty close to winning there, and that was our Mulda 4, so, you know, that's something. This needs, like, a Utopia Sprawl or just a land to get a Cruise Shock, and then if it gets just a land, it needs, like, another land. I'm gonna mulligan this. This is the exact same hand, basically, but I'm gonna keep it this time. And we have the Avenging Hunter, which is ever so slightly better. Well, okay, it's a way better card than Gargantua. I'm not delusioned. But it's ever so slightly better in that it's on color, so I don't have to find the swamp now. But also, I'm not going to mulligan a 5 when I have a reasonable hand like this. It's good enough, that is. Okay, there's our swamp. So we'll just pass. I'm going to attack for 1 and then pass. Swamp is good because we have this Snuff Out, obviously. They're just going to crack their Candy Trail at some point, it looks like. Alright, another Banner Hide. If I don't draw a land, at least I can just keep playing these guys. And they did have a Forest. Was that Forest was played turn 2, so they didn't have any more Tron lands. Now they find one. And then there's a Candy Trail. So now they could get there. That's a bummer. I just want them to not find Tron. 2 to the top. Well, I feel like that's definitely Tron then. Another Banner Hide. Okay. I guess this is the strat. It's funny. I could just make this an 8/8, which is almost not unreasonable because their guys are so big this could get past them. But it could then get Pinnacle kill shipped. And then it's all gone to waste. So we'll at least have 2 Cruise Shocks running around. We can snuff out their first blocker. So, like, this is decent attacks for sure. There's the land, and then here's a Colossus. Yep, I figured since they scried the other one, they could just make sure they were hitting the perfect card, and it's a Bramble Worm. So I can't kill both of those unless I draw another Snuff Out here. We hit the Gargantua, but we don't have the mana for it. I guess I snuff out this, I attack with both, and then they block one, and I could reinforce to trade. That seems really bad. I think I'd rather just cast another one. At least we have decent blockers. Problem is, I think we're supposed to be the aggressive deck here, and we're not being able to be aggressive anymore. And they're just going to probably play bigger creatures than us. There's a kill ship blowing up, could blow up an Arbor Elf, honestly. But they're going to go for a Cruise Shock. Here's mine. Heritage Reclamation, the Cruise Shock, sure. I wasn't really close to using that anyway, so it's not the worst thing ever. No attacks. The perfect way I wanted to go out was rubbing it in my face that I can't play these 5 drops that I included in my deck for some reason. And if these were just Chrysalis instead, I could be playing them. Maybe, I'm starting to think Chrysalis might be better than Fetid Gargantua. Is that crazy to say? I don't know. Alright, they play a Grotto. They scry one. They attack. They didn't attack last turn, and they attack this turn, which makes me think they have something. So, I mean, I'm going to double block, and I have a Snuff Out, but, like, part of me wants to snuff out the Bramble Worm. But then if they do have something, it's kind of awkward. If they have, like, a removal spell at instant speed or whatever. Or they just are getting more guys, so it doesn't really matter. There's a Colossus. Reveals Pulsa Marasa. Perfect. Gets back Colossus. Stations the kill ship. Wild Growth. Perfect timing. This lets me Wild Growth and then cast one of my 5 drops. Like the Initiative. Or this Gargantua that I really wanted to try out. I think it's going to get there. We're definitely going to win. Alright, well we've lost to their enormous creatures. Unfortunately. Couldn't do much about it. So we got a 2-3 with the deck. Nothing exceptional, obviously. It can use some work. definitely. Like I said, I did get some decent records with it when I was playing it before, although this was 6 or 9 months ago, so like the meta was very different, and yeah. But yeah, could use some work. I would love to actually see the Gargantuas and be wanting to cast them, but I never want to cast them over a Hunter. I want them, so Hunter almost always like won or lost pretty quickly, and so it was like there was no reason to do the Gargantua. Maybe that's why it's just not as good. But in any case, I enjoyed playing it, and that's all that matters. That makes sense. Tron's just bigger. Yeah, in this case, like Monster Tron's not the best deck ever, but that doesn't mean it can't have good matchups. And against us, yes, they just play. We're trying to ramp into very big creatures. They're trying to do that even more than we are. And so it's definitely going to be hard to survive there. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you all next time.